Hi listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to Upptalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say Upptalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it. Let's investigate SAP, a well-known enterprise resource planning system, and discover its many functionalities and business applications.
Always give this as public.audit log. Now I'm able to see the audit log here. In audit log, you can see the recent action that you have done as a system user. So index server will basically give you see what happened. I've created the policies. My policy. I've created my policy and everything it is showing. And what else I created? I created user. And I've ordered that user successfully. So all the data. So what user I've created? Test 1, 2, 3 I've created. What user ID? I've changed test 1, 2, 3 I've changed. So the audit log can be seen with this query. It is select from public.audit log. You can view this audit log. This script is useful. No? This script is useful. This query. This data is useful. Let us say, as Nell be like, you have done some changes in the system. Let us say you have given access to me as a role admin. You shouldn't do that, but you have done it. So how can I monitor it if this audit log is not enabled? If the audit log is not enabled, you'll not be able to find who is the culprit. Let us say in an organization on LPA, like you are there in the organization, and some person has changed some person has viewed some foundational data in your organization. What will happen? How can you find out who is the person who's responsible for doing this? You have to activate the audit log in order to catch that culprit in your organization and to punish him. So in order to do that, so this all comes under your SOX compliance basically. So you have to comply to these compliance standards in your company to function, to maintain your company's performance smoothly. Otherwise, what might happen? Let us say you are working for a company called Gulf Computers. Your company has designed some path-breaking technology. And all these details are stored in your HANA database. Let us say some X user has accessed this data using some SQL query. And he has shared this data to your competitor. So what? How are you going to find it? You have to enable the audit trace simple. Select all instead of only user admin. I've only selected user admin now. As of my policy 1 as a profile, my policy 1, I've selected it. Instead, you select everything, trace everything, and find who is the culprit using the audit trace. So that's why auditing is very important. So this is how you get the data of audit. And you also got this thing. If you want to clear this audit log, you can use this command alter system clear audit log. I'll share with these documents. I have to share you the document for transport also. 2 documents I have to share. DB transport and auditing. I'll share them. Audit log record, audit policy, audit trail. Again the same thing, same story. Audit admin, audit operator. It's the same thing. And these are some analytical privileges that you can use in order to get the data. In order to check what are the effective privileges, which are essentially user, you can use this query. It will basically give you the data about analytical privileges are assigned to a particular user. Username you can give. Suppose, if I want to find null-based analytical privileges, whatever analytical privileges are assigned to null-based, I can execute this query. Or simply what you can do, you can go to the user null-based and you can check what analytical privileges are assigned in the Analytical Privileges tab. So we never use this. Queries usually in the real time, only for knowledge purpose. I've shared this. You can use it accordingly or wherever it is needed. It is only to see the selected up list. So I've given an example. Also see select from public effective structured privileges, where root schema name is P, IC, and root object name is so on. So that's in PCK and username is Rahul. You'll get all the privileges that are assigned to you. Or else you can directly go to the user and you can check what privileges are assigned to you. That is easy rather than going executing the queries and all. But I have to share it. So, Robin, is there a script to determine who are the users who's accessing the database and what are the roles in privilege? Yes, basically like what roles users is accessing. You can always check it from the user tab, or what you can do, you can go to the roles itself. Let us say you want to see which this role is assigned to how many users. You have created a role in your organization. Yesterday we created one role. What is that role? 0, 100. You have created this role, isn't it? So full or is it empty? This is empty. This is created. So this is created. So if you want to see like how many users are assigned to this, you can assign, you can check this. I'll tell you. I'm about to go there. And this is again the same story. So this is auditing. I'll tell you how to trace. Now we'll check the trace thing. So trace is also very much easy. So for tracing what you need to do, let me close all the sessions. So in order to trace what you need to do, let me select the double click on system. And if you double click on system, you can find the trace configuration here. Basically, go to trace configuration. In trace configuration, you can configure the trace. I have configured some trace here, other trace. I'm deleting it. Let me create a new trace so that I can show you. Only user specific trace is only user specific trace is relevant to us. If you want to do as a database admin, you can create database trace or SQL trace, whatever SQL commands you are executing in the database. If you want to see what errors you are getting, basically, trace configuration is to identify what error you are getting and what privilege that you need. Some privilege is missing to you at the time of execution. So how to identify which privilege is missing to you? With trace easy. And performance trace. Performance trace is performed by the system admin, that is basis admin. Expensive system trace. Let us say if an SQL statement is running for a long time, for more than you want to see what SQL statements are running for a long time. You can set some threshold here. By default, the threshold will be like this and it is inactive. Now you can make it as active and you can set a threshold. So whatever SQL query will exceed this threshold, you'll see it in the report. This is also not done by us. This is done by SQL people. Sorry, the database people. And to end traces. And to end trace also, we are not going to define anything. We are only going to use a simple trace called user-specific trace, basically to identify what errors you are getting. So let me create a trace. So I'll give the trace name as authorization tracing. I want to give database user as nub, application user. User. Again, if you have any third-party application user, you can give it here. But now we don't have any third-party application user like BIBO user. So will be third-party application users will be accessing on a database. We discussed about the restricted user concept. If there is such user, you can give the user ID application user here. But we don't know, we are not giving anything. And here in type filter search for authorization. Search for authorization. Wherein Power BI are allowed to connect an SAP and a DB. Sorry, I didn't get to that. Power BI. I have learned Power BI. It depends actually. It can be a third-party application. You can integrate it with the hidden database. And you have to make sure that the user ID is matched between the two systems. If your user ID is created as null here, the same user ID will be created in the third-party application as well, so that your user IDs are in sync and your privileges are in sync. How about school? What is SQL? SQL, is it allowed to connect in SAP HANA? Microsoft School. Microsoft. You can connect it with the HANA database. You can connect any third-party application with HANA database. But what is the purpose of, for example, I'm going to create reports. Using SQL, I will connect in SAP NNDB. You can do it. You can do it, but how you are going to control is the security admin job. Connecting one system to another. System is your basis admin job. Basis admin has to take care of it. And he has to explore the possibility if it is allowed or not. I think my school is allowed. Like any third-party application, if you want to build some reports on HANA database as a third-party application, it is always allowed, until and unless you have the license to do it. So I have selected auth here, and I am going to select show all components. And our required component will be there under index server. Then find authorization here. In authorization, I want to search only for error. And in system trace level, I'm going to select as error. I don't want to select any warning or info or something like that. You can also select info here because I want some information. Let us say I want some information. I'll select it. I'll click on finish. So I have successfully activated this trace to the user. So what I'll do now, as null B I'll try to create some new role. As a role admin, I have given role admin access to null. What happened? Null B is facing something. Null B is ready. We have some issue here. Let me move this and let us log in once again with null B. Visually, there is no need to change password this many times in the real environment. But this environment is a training environment, so that's why all these issues are popping up. The system will never ask you to reset password. It is very rare that you reset your password in HANA until and unless there is some password policy defined in order to make your password out. I'll complete the role. Sorry, I am recreating this and I'm going to system privileges and I'll have to add some privilege. Some privilege called audit, read, and I'll keep on executing. It gave me some error. Could not grant to this audit read. You are not for otherwise to perform the required actions. You got an error. Now, if you want to trace what you can do, you can go to diagnosis file. I have given the NLP user ID in the tracing. So I'll go to diagnosis files. I'll search for the name which I've given. Authorization tracing. This is the file. Double click on it and you'll be able to see what is this username saying. NLP is not allowed to grant system privilege audit read. It is clearly giving that NLP is not able to assign this particular privilege. Similarly, you can do it for everything. So what is he saying? User NLP tried to execute grant audit read to 0 temp. So this user NLP is basically not allowed to assign audit read to any other user. So that is where I said to you, like you have to go to system. You have to go to users. You can go to NLP and see audit rate profile is already assigned to NLP. But the thing is that he is not allowed to assign this access to any other user. I'm selecting this. I'll execute this. So basically, with authorization trace, only you'll be able to see like what access is. So NLP is missing. So now I'll go to. Now I'll try to execute now. Did it allow? Yes, see role has been changed. Now role has been assigned with audit. Read. That is how you use your audit log basically. I have only selected for unsuccessful things in the trace. If you want to select not only error, if you want to select everything, you can select that. So I selected info. I'm able to see the info. Now by seeing this info, I was able to see that he was missing the system privilege audit rate. He is not allowed to assign this. So I'll go to the user. I'll go to the user ID and I'll simply assign. I'll give him the access to assign this audit admin privilege. Audit read privilege to the user. So let us say, if he's trying to assign some other privilege and he's not allowed to do it, it will simply show it in the authorization trace. And not only that, if someone is not able to see, let us see if there is some package. Let us say there is some package. In the content folder layer, there's a package called latest and you're trying to access this attribute US. Latest one to me. If you have some issues, it will clearly show you that's first, you need so much analytical privilege in order to execute this, in order to view this attribute. Then you will simply assign this analytical privilege to this user ID and issue solved. So, in order to get the data, there'll be like there is a query. I'm going to show you that query in the coming session. There is a query with which you can simply execute that query and you can get the data like how many users are assigned to a particular role. That is what you basically want to find out. Yes, how many users are basically assigned to a particular role. you can do that. I can show it to you in the next class. It's very easy. There is a query that is useful. So let's say that we have a query with the value of 1. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.